You are listening to Turning 75 when last week I was 16. A place where you can relax and just be your authentic self. Or make up someone else that you might like to be better. Doesn't matter, because we're just me talking and you listening. It's Bonnie. Now, don't go get a cup of tea. Not for this one. Get a nice glass of wine, a crystal glass, something that you can hold in your hand and feel elegant. Because you just might want to raise that glass at the end of our life's review. I used to watch some Sunday morning show on TV. Don't remember the name of the show, but the host always had a segment called A Life Well Lived. He picked some celebrity or famous person that lived a life that included helping others in some kind of way. And these were the nice, warm segments that celebrated a person who was giving back to their community. I used to think about it. What really defines a life well lived? And who makes that determination? Does being crazy count? If I'm having fun being crazy and not hurting anybody, is that a life well lived? Currently, a woman's life expectancy is age 81, and it is 76 for a man. So when you turn 75, you have to be a little bit honest with yourself and realize that the number of years you have left is short and life goes by so quickly. Sometimes I get a little bit nervous when I think about it. Now, I don't go to funerals. I used to, but many years ago I found out that I just could not walk through that door to the church or wherever the gathering of remembrance was being held. I never liked the concept of looking at a dead body and shedding a tear while someone spoke about how great and wonderful that person was. And it just sort of seemed barbaric to me. My family used to say to me, you need to go to the funeral because you need to see that person dead so you'll realize that they're really gone. And I'm thinking, no, I don't. They're dead. I'm going to know they're dead whether I look at them dead or not. So I just stopped going. Now, those who understood it were fine. Those who didn't understand it, I don't really care. And really, I never interacted with them to find out how they felt. Because you know how people are. They'll sit around and talk about you behind your back, but they'll never come to your face and say, hey, how come you don't come to funerals no more? And so when people say, well, you never said anything about it, and I said every day I didn't talk to you was a day you didn't call me. So don't put this all on my shoulders because it suits your purpose. I don't go to funerals. I don't like them. And I'm the only one that needs to be comfortable with my decision. The last funeral I tried to attend, I did. I went and I stood outside the door of the church, but I couldn't go in. And people, family members were saying, come on, I'll hold your hand, walk with me, blah, blah, blah. But I said, no, because it's not about you taking me through the door. It's about my spirit saying, no, I don't want to do this. I told my daughter, when I go, get some money out the bank, go buy a very expensive bottle of wine and raise the glass to toast someone who truly did do it her way. Don't even scatter the ashes. You don't need to do all that kind of stuff. Because you know what? I'm going to see you in some way, shape, and form next lifetime. But you know what I'm finding? A lot of other people are saying, I don't want a funeral. I spend all that money for people to sit around and cry. Because it doesn't really celebrate your life. Now they have a celebration of life. If you didn't celebrate my life with me while I was alive, please don't try and celebrate my life when I'm dead. Because it's not true and honest. What I do, though, is think about sometimes, what am I leaving behind as the memory? What are people going to think about me? And not really think about me, but put it this way. Who did I help? Did I change a life or a thought in someone? Did I bring joy to someone's soul? Did I lighten the load? Did I make them laugh, help them see their truth? Or did I inspire them to throw off that coat of respectability and walk barefoot through the sands of life and time? And did they dance? Did they shed a tear during a tender moment? Did they love themselves? As you can probably realize by now, I was always different. When I was younger, I questioned everything. I went to church. Why? I read in the Bible. Why? It doesn't make sense to me. Help me make sense of this stuff. I was a person that saw the things that I shouldn't see, always. I was the person who traveled my own path to understand life, religion, faithfulness, happiness, love, and hate. Now, the many times I cried, I understood that those tears are helping me understand what the laughter is going to be and how important the laughter will be to me. Ask yourself, I'm sure you have, did you matter in life? Did you raise a really good, honest, loving child? Did you hold someone's hand as they were passing over? Hey, did you kick somebody out the door because they were dishonest and lying to you? Or did you bake a cake for someone for no reason other than you could? My favorite, did you kiss a child? Even if you did those things only once, even if only one time you held someone's hand when they needed, if only one time you kissed that little child and brought joy and a smile to their face, all you had to do it was once. And it was a life well lived. If you brought a smile to somebody's heart, even once, it was a life well lived. As you evaluate your life, how easy is it going to be for you to embrace your flaws and faults, your failures? When I was in the corporate world, head of the marketing department, I hated those people who couldn't make decisions. Some people get stuck on stupid, I call it. Oh, I got to figure out this. I had to figure out this. They try and get 100% of the information they need to make the decision. Me, if I can get 50, I'm making that decision. And I make it on what I researched, what I know, what I feel. And if it works, we keep moving. If it didn't work, fine. I buried it in the backyard and tried again. Because my thinking has always been like this. A bad decision is better than no decision. Because we learn the lesson from what doesn't work, not from really what did work. And at least we tried. But now, okay, I made so many decisions in my work life. When I came home and my friends would say, let's go eat. Where you want to eat for dinner? I don't know. Take me someplace. I've been making decisions all day. I don't want to make decisions anymore. So yeah, I'm hypocritical with stuff like that. But hey, I admit it. I admit it. Don't get stuck on woulda, shoulda, coulda. How do you get past that? It may sound simplistic, but the reality is that many people beat themselves up on what they could have been or what they should have been versus accepting what they are. Now, I'm not going to go and get all metaphysical on you, but how do you evaluate the steps, the turns, the choices that you have made in your life? From where comes the guidance? From where comes the control? A life well lived will be so different for every different person. The mom that raised her child the best she could should not despair if that child ends up going down the wrong path. Oh, I was a bad mother. No, you weren't. Understand that children come through you, not to you. That child selected you to be born with, and you had reasons for that child to become your child. It's lessons that you need to learn. It's lessons that that person is going to help you understand. And that lesson might be I was a good mom, and I'm not responsible for the child that makes the bad choice. Because they had all of the right steps in front of them. Where they go once they're grown is on them. But I see a lot of moms that despair. Well, my child's in jail. It ain't got nothing to do with you that your child's in jail. Unless you were a bad mom, and I don't think you were. That child made their own path. And the worst thing you can do is try and guide someone's path, whether it's a sister or a brother or a family member or a daughter or a child. They walk their own path. Leave them alone and let them do. Give the good advice that you know, but realize the choice is not yours to make. Losing everything that you own based on one bad decision doesn't negate all that you did accomplish. The lesson you need to learn could be humility, survival, resilience, strength, perseverance. Years ago, when my daughter was maybe 5 years old, that was years ago now, okay? I went to a friend's house on New Year's Day because she knew I was going through some personal issues and struggling a little bit. And she said, I made some black eyed peas. She was a good cook. And she said, come on over because you're supposed to eat black eyed peas on New Year's Day because it brings you good luck for that year. So my daughter and I went to her house and ate them black eyed peas. They were pretty good. But that was the year I kicked my husband out the house. And I struggled hard to maintain my lifestyle and raise my daughter on a minimalist salary. That's the year I decided I got to get a college degree because I can't raise my child like this. I can be so much more. And that was the year I cried probably the most years in my life. And I thought some year, black eyed peas don't work. But about 3 years later, I began to realize that it was the best year of my life because it put me on the track to success that I would not have accomplished if I remained married to a fool. One of the best decisions I made in my life. It was a very good year, and we've all been there. My life well lived has nothing to do with how much money I did or did not make, how big or small my house was, what my title at work was. It was when a fitness client told me that she couldn't raise her arm over her head before she started taking my classes, but now she could touch the ceiling. Or was that little girl in elementary school was upset because she didn't think she was smart enough to solve the problem. And I said, honey, I'm not going to solve the problem for you, but I'm going to give you all the tools that you need to solve the problem. We're going to work on it together. And she solved the problem. And after she did, I told her how smart she was. I said, you did that by yourself. Don't let anyone ever tell you that you're not smart. You're a wonderful little girl. And I went on to the next child. And later on that afternoon, all of a sudden, I felt something bump into my legs and wrap their arms around me. And I looked down, and this little girl was hugging my legs and smiling in my face. And she gave me that smile, and she ran on. I said, wow, that makes me feel good. Or when my grandson wrote on his college essay that his Grammy was the first person who instilled the love of learning in him. And this is he went on to get a full ride 4-year scholarship in mechanical engineering. Yay me. Think about it. Think about all those little things that make your life worth living. And it only has to be one small thing. If you touched, inspired, facilitated, lit the spark in one person's life, it was truly a life well lived. Why this topic? Because you know I'm always going to get around to it in the end. Now, I'm kind of spiritual. I spent so many of my corporate years in marketing and was always showing that smiling face when I would go home and tend to isolate when I was alone. I'm kind of shy. But I stood on stage in front of thousands of people and gave presentations and was good at it because I could wear that mask that all was well and I am content. Then I started meeting a lot of seniors who felt they didn't measure up to their peers in their lifetime. And I thought to myself, do they know how many of us people who are always giving presentations and talking in positive, we're totally faking it. Guys, we are faking it. It is a job that we do. And I go home and close the door and envy all of those people who didn't have to be on every single day. So while you're thinking that, I didn't measure up, I'm thinking, I wish I could have been that person who didn't have to try so hard. We can only determine our worth based on our hearts and souls. I had to stand in front of that mirror and assess myself, just like everybody else. Me, Bonnie, this controlled, competent, knowledgeable about everything, many-careered person had to ask herself, do I matter? No matter what face I was wearing, though, I decided that I did matter. And so do you.